Hi, I'm Victoria Wilson. I'm the owner of Daughter of Music LLC, a music company right here in Atlanta, Georgia, where we provide private music lessons for voice, guitar, drums, and piano, as well as a plethora of performance, audition, and workshop opportunities. But most importantly, we provide entertainment legal services where we learn the artist how to protect your work. So, welcome to my podcast, Note to Note. Whatever your role is in the music entertainment business, this is for you. So, if you're a guitarist, a cellist, a vocalist, a music teacher, a producer, this is for you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me. And again, welcome to Note to Note. Today's segment will be featured around what is copyright. Now, I'm pretty sure any person in the world has heard about copyright. It's very simple, but there are important steps that we as artists, as people, should take advantage of. So the first thing is to know, well, how do I get to this step? How do I complete an application? Simply go to www.copyright.gov. Now, what is copyright? So let's take it a step further. Pretend like you are creating a song for the very first time and it is entitled The Blues of Music. Now, when you create that song, when you go into the studio recording, if you notate it on sheet music or include it on a digital file, it automatically allows copyright to be readily available, meaning it's already existing. But if you feel that the blues of music is going to be a hit, if you feel that you want to include it in other productions, then I encourage you to copyright it. So that's all of today's segment. You thought I was going to write? Absolutely not, because that is the mistake that so many of us make. We spend plethora of hours in the studio composing music and producing it, but we don't want to take it a step further. And when someone uses our music without our permission, then we want to what? Get on social media and fuss or want to sue someone. But those are the advantages of copyright. Now, what is copyright? Copyright protects original works. So that means I cannot go and try to cover, I love Whitney Houston. I cannot go and cover Whitney Houston's song and say it's mine. No, it protects original works. And when it protects the original works, it allows your work to not be copied nor used without your permission. If anyone wants to use your permission, they must include or give you a license agreement. I'm going to talk a little bit about licensing, but I'm also going to do another segment that's going to include all about licensing just for you, especially you songwriters and publishers. So, copyright protects original works now. So, if you're not registered, we're on www.copyright.gov. First step is to make sure you are registered. If you are not, go ahead and take the time out to register. It is very simple, a very simple process. Mostly your contact information, your address, all of those things. Very, very simple. Once you do that, the most important part is what type of work have you composed, right? So there are 6 categories so that it's applicable to all artists. The first one is literary works. That can be fiction, nonfiction articles. The second one is visual arts. The third one is also motion pictures. Also, you have performing arts as a category. And one importantly is photographs. So when we're talking about photographs and copywriting photographs, I mean new photographs. And that can also include a selfie. So if you're like me, everyone likes a really good selfie, right? Now, I'm not really big on the filters and all of that. I'm like, hey, come as, love me how I am. But with a good selfie, do you know that you are the copyright owner of that? So if you choose to put that on any type of medium or platform, you can do that. And if someone comes in and takes that picture and utilize it for their own professional or personal gain, you can sue them. Absolutely. But with copywriting selfies, it's very important to know a couple of different instances. Yes, if you take the picture, then yes, you are the copyright owner. What if you want to take a picture with your group of friends? Then whoever takes the picture, not everyone in the group, but whoever takes the picture is the copyright owner. And then lastly, just making sure you understand the terms and conditions of those platforms that we include. And what I mean by those platforms, I'm talking about the social media ones, the Facebook, the Instagram, the TikTok. Now, I am not on TikTok. I am on Facebook and mostly Instagram. But the most important thing I can tell you is that I dug a little deeper with Instagram and I did review their terms and conditions. And surprisingly, they do not infringe upon your copyright ownership when it comes to posting photos. And that is a wonderful blessing because Instagram, you mostly post photos and you want to be able to be the original authors and be able to use your pictures and whatever asset that you want to. Now, I'm not familiar with Facebook, so I'm going to do my homework and let you all know the terms and conditions of that as well as TikTok. But be very careful because a lot of these platforms are violating in some way our rights. So we're quick to go on social media and say he or she infringed upon our rights, but we don't do our work when we are actually infringing upon our own selves. So let's take it a step further. So again, with copyright, we have 6 categories that we have to include: literary works, visual works, performing arts, photographs, motion pictures, and then also, if for those computer programmers out there, you also have a category too. So if you come up and invent some wonderful computer program, you can copyright that as well. So those are your 6 applicable categories for any work. Now you've registered. Now with the categories, you've chosen your category. But for you singers, let's say you're like, oh, the blues of music, you want to copyright that song. Well, are you only the author of that song? Because there are 2 components to copyrighting a song. You have your musical work, which represents the underlying composition, and then also the master or sound recording there, which is mostly those dealing with the sound of it, right? So you have to copyright both of those entities, especially if other contributors are a part of that song. A lot of people do not do that, and when they go on copyright, they're like, whoa, this is asking me additional questions. Yes, of course it is, because you probably did not only compose a song. You probably brought in other producers, other writers, and that's okay. That's wonderful. It takes a village. But just know when copywriting a song, you have to copyright the composition, the musical work, as well as the sound recording. Now, once we've done that, there are 3 categories of copywriting a song. You can copyright just a single for itself. You can do that, but making sure we copyright what? The composition and the sound recording. You can copyright a group of unpublished works, but the maximum amount to copyright a group of unpublished works is 10. So if you have 10 songs and they just been sitting there in idle motion, yes, you can copyright those. But there is a stipulation, and sometimes it's not always in bold. You must be the author, the claimant of that song. If not, you got to bring in all those contributors and include their information. It's their time, it's their talent. So that's very important. So copywriting a song, of course, copywriting singles, copyrighting a group of unpublished works, which means no more than 10, and then copywriting an album. So you see a lot of these artists producing these wonderful albums, copyright all of that, but you cannot exceed 20. And again, if you are not the only author or claimant of that song, then yes, you have to include the other contributors. Very, very important. So let's review some of those steps just to make sure you're not missing any information. So I've told you about the website that you need to go to, www.copyright.gov. Secondly, I identified all of the categories that are applicable to any artist performing or visual arts. And then I told you specifically, if you're a singer, the distinction between of copywriting a song, the composition and the sound recording. Now, let's say, for instance, Someone comes to you and they say, hey, I would like to use the blues of music in a production. And they say, okay, that's great. They send you the correspondence via email. You look at the terms. You're like, nah, this is not working. And you reject their request. They get all salty and they come back, and you hear later on down the road a little bit that they have included the blues of music. Now, the first thing is you have to make sure that the blues of music is copyrighted. If not, you are not able to sue and get statutory damages. Now, you can use that written or email correspondence as evidence, but you are not the owner of that piece of music. So it's literally out there. Yes, when you were in the studio and when you notated on the sheet music, copyright already exists. But if you know that this is going to be successful, and as an artist myself, anytime I put in work, I feel that it's going to be successful. There are always many levels of success, but we're going to be successful. Then I'm going to protect my work. So that comes in with a licensing. If you copyright, you have the authorization to deny those requests. But just know that there's two sides: the publishing sides, the writers, and then the master recording, which is normally owned by the label. So let's say that, of course, you rejected their terms and your song is copyrighted, but the financial gain is not too much. Let's say it's about $10,000 and you've already sent them a notice. Then what you want to understand is that in December 2020, our Congress passed a law and created a group called the Copyright Claims Board. It is a tier of 3 members, and they help those claims that are under $30,000. So a lot of times, artists, even myself, we don't feel that, hey, this, you know, specific lawsuit does not amass so much money. It's not worth our time. But this is the job of the claims board. They're saying, hey, it is worth our time. It is important to make sure your rights are protected, not only just as an artist, but as a citizen, as a human being, right? So when you're doing that, you can submit a claim, and this website is ccb.gov, and literally you can just type in also, if it's easier for you, Copyright Claims Board, and you would get to the website. This allows you to include those lawsuits. Make sure you file a claim for lawsuits that are under $30,000. Also, let's say that you received a cease and desist letter, and that letter says, hey, you're infringing upon my rights. You need to remove this work. But you're like, oh no, I did not infringe upon your rights. Then yes, the claims board can assist you with that. And one important aspect that the claims board does is they continue to review all configurations of music, making sure that no artist's rights is infringed or violated upon. And that is such a wonderful blessing. So what is copyright? Yes, copyright protects all original works. If you put in the work, put in the time, and utilize your talents, make sure you take that extra step. And if you don't understand how to do it, then get with a legal advisor, an entertainment attorney, someone that is knowledgeable to help you with copyright. So thank you for joining the segment today on Note to Note Podcast. What is copyright? Please feel free to follow me on YouTube channel, Daughter of Music LLC, Facebook and Instagram, Daughter of Music LLC, as well as our website, www.daughterofmusicllc.com. Additionally, if you feel that you may want to engage in a conversation with me, I will be hosting different discovery sessions with you for 30 minutes. So feel free to message me, and those discovery sessions are free to you. From one artist to the next, we are here to help each other. Thank you again so much. Bye.